to the fishing series. Today's discussion will be on the different kinds of fish and where to find the different kinds of fish, such as oceans and lakes and rivers. Come on, let's go check it out. So, the first body of water that we'll be talking about is the ocean. Now, the ocean is pretty huge, to say the least, and to talk about all the different kinds of fish that can be found in the ocean in just one video can literally just take up an entire video of its own. So instead, we'll focus on some of the fish that can be found off the East Coast, closer to like Pennsylvania, Maryland, and that area in general. Just closer to the United States, just off of the East Coast. Typically, kinds of fish that you will find in the ocean near the East Coast are going to be way bigger than any other kind of fish that you can find inland. Typically, not so there are smaller fish in the ocean, but typically the ones that are in the ocean are bigger than the ones, again, typically in like lakes and stuff like that. One perfect example of this is the Yellowfin Tuna. These types of fish, these types of tuna are absolutely massive, just like the rest of the tuna family, like Big Eye, and are the kind of tuna that most fishermen go for. These things can like weigh anywhere from 250 to 400 pounds and get up to like 35 inches in length. They're huge. They're really big fighters. They have a lot of muscle, and they can take up to like 3 hours to reel in. They are massive. Just like a bunch of all the other fish that we'll be talking about probably in the fish in the ocean. The next kind of fish that we'll be talking about is marlins. And there's a bunch of different kinds of marlins, such as white marlins, blue marlins, and black marlins, and even striped marlins. These things are kind of like swordfish. They're in the same group as like billfish. However, these marlins have different shaped like fins. That's what separates marlins and swordfish. So another kind of fish that you can find off the East Coast is called dolphin, but not the kind that you are thinking of. Excuse me. Otherwise known as mahi. These things are like yellow and blue and they kind of paddle shaped. If you were to see dolphin on the menu of like a seafood restaurant, this is what they mean. It's not a. First of all, dolphins that we all know are mammals, and these things are fish. So yeah, you can also find a large variety of like sharks, such as makos and bull sharks, and a whole bunch of other kinds of sharks. Next up, we'll talk about some of the fish that you can find in lakes on the East Coast. One fish that can be found in lakes is the largemouth bass. Now, this is one of the most common types of bass that people will be fishing for in most lakes. Its distinguishing feature is, well, it comes from the name of the fish. It's really large mouth. Well, its ability to stretch its mouth to really a considerable amount. This fish is pretty easily recognizable, as it's what most companies, like most fishing companies, will use as like their logo. You'll see it a lot. You can also find a bunch of different types of minnow, or just a bunch of different minnows in lakes, which are essentially just really tiny fish that most people will catch in large amounts to use later for bait. Another fish that you will likely really easily recognize is the catfish. Yeah. Catfish is another one of the most common fish that people will be fishing for. One cool thing about these guys, other than the whiskers, which is the most distinguishing feature and where they got their name from, is the fact that you can fish for them with nothing but your hands. Yeah. People do this by just sticking their entire arms in holes in lakes and just, feeling around for the fish and then just grabbing it and pulling it out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Lastly, we'll talk about some of the fish that can be found in rivers and streams. There are a ton of different kinds of fish all across the world that travel via rivers and streams, and one of the most famous of these is the salmon. That's the first fish we'll be talking about. These are the fish that like to jump upstream to get to their spawning grounds, which is where they lay eggs and stuff like that, and also die. They pretty much die immediately after they lay their eggs. Most people would recognize them by this feature, is that their pinkish sort of coloration around their bodies. That's some species of salmon have. Another kind of fish that can be commonly found in rivers across the world are called trout. It's the kind of fish that typically has like black spotted coloration all across the bodies with otherwise like greenish scales. Much like salmon, trout are really great tasting and are also one of the most commonly farmed and fished fish around the world, especially in North America. And with that, this video will be coming to an end. Tune in next time when we talk about a bunch of different kinds of fish that you can see out in the ocean, specifically out in the ocean. We're going to do a whole video on just a bunch of different unique kinds of fish that you can find right out in the ocean and all around the ocean, not just the East Coast. See you.